Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. I sit back with my brand new invention.
Here we are, my first attempt at doing a little video for this year.
Set 3 Community Services Communication subject with Jim and I. I'm just going to give you some info around question 5. I try and make videos short, less than 5 if I can.
Question 5, there's a table, talks about different modes of communication and when best to use them and the key principles. So the first one was face-to-face. When would you use it? I think when there is something urgent and you've got to get the message across clearly.
That would be my interpretation. And the key principles, so use clear communication skills and ensure that the message is received and understood clearly. So you might
need to talk about something urgent with a supervisor, maybe it's around child protection and you just want to run something by them. Just make sure you've got it clear and they understand what's going on and it's all understood and the appropriate action is taken. Video conference, when would that be best used? That'll be used, I think, when people are working remotely out in the country. Maybe they need to check in that they're okay, or they might have got a question, or perhaps you've got lots of staff, services got lots of staff spread out across a region. Let's say the Hunter region, there might be someone at Muswellbrook down to Wyong or similar, Cessnock. Maybe they check in for a staff meeting using video conferencing. Key principles, make sure you're familiar with how that stuff works and you can troubleshoot any issues, and I guess having good internet connection would be important there. Email, when would you use those? I think maybe referral or just touching base with the service, finding out what they do, getting a bit of general information. So it's not urgent.
but necessarily, or maybe a referral might be a bit urgent, but maybe it's more that general finding out, or maybe services are set up to take referrals by email.
Use the subject line. I think that's important. So you get an email, you see it come in, all right, you know what it is. Keep it to the point, not too long, and use spell check and good grammar and key principles of writing. So don't waffle, but be accurate and short. Just checking the time, want to keep under 5. Next one was a memo. That might be used to advertise an event or remind staff of changes. Key principles, again, short, clear. Maybe there needs to be a folder for memos. Maybe staff need to sign that they've read them, or
it goes up on a notice board, whatever the procedure might be. Some organisations might require staff to sign that they've read them. Maybe there's a memo about a change of policy or something like that they need to get out to everyone.
Telephone, when would you use that? If you need get some information to someone quickly, or you need a quick response. Key principles, speaking clearly, gentle tone, don't be angry, but be succinct, making sure that people can understand what it is that you're talking about. Okay, we're going to have a look at question 7 of communication technique and description. First one, open-ended questions, so they can't be answered whether yes or no. The idea is, I guess, to get people telling their story and talking. Affirmations are used to encourage and validate somebody's story. They can be done verbally or non-verbally through your body language. So verbally, you might see the strength in their story, their perseverance or courage, for example. Your body language, just smiling, nodding, things like that. That'd be all affirmations. Reflections, so reflecting back in your own words, just checking that you've got the story straight, checking your understanding. Summaries, so a summary would be more of checking back, seeing that you've got a good understanding of what someone's talking about, but more maybe for clumps of information. So summary might come in maybe towards the middle or towards the end, and definitely some sort of summary at the end of a conversation is often used. Motivational interviewing, I guess exploring people's motivation to look where they're at and maybe their motivation to change. Maybe it is around that AOD stuff in particular, the idea of how people view their maybe drug use, and maybe see it as self-medication and therapeutic and a lot of benefits. And so I guess again for me is that use of questioning, open questioning, getting people to talk through and explore what that might mean, and you're looking for harm minimisation or where they're at in that journey of wanting to change. Tapping into someone to find their motivation to change. You're not going to tell them, they're going to find their own reasons to change certain behaviours. Coercive approach, so putting pressure on someone to get a response, maybe in incarceration or in jail, maybe
someone, if they do a particular program, it might reduce their sentence or help them get out quicker, for example, or if they don't turn up, they might end up in jail, for example. That to me would be a coercive. Perhaps there are certain practices around getting unemployment benefits, Centrelink payments these days. Maybe there's some stuff around Centrelink and Job Network that is somewhat coercive. Miss a meeting and you're cut off, for example.
Collaboration, so that's 2 or more people working together for a similar outcome. I guess Jim's often talking about community work, yeah, definitely in that sort of context. any sort of group though that you're working with. Confrontation. So to me, that's challenging someone's views. And why would you challenge? Well, I guess certain views are certain that people might have. It could be deep-seated, but for me, the alarm bells might arise where they're talking about excluding or discriminating people. So hey, you might hold that view about those group of people. It's actually it's against the law to vilify someone based on their race, their religion, their culture, their sexuality. Maybe in a gentle way, just remind people that excluding someone based on some of these things, and maybe it's based on some negative stereotypes that they might have picked up from media or school or other environments. I would see that as a need to confront, or perhaps some other behaviour that's destructive, and maybe it's about confronting them in a way that's assertive. Using assertive language, which we'll get to, and we have spoken about it briefly.
How it feels. If you've got questions, email me back questions. No such thing as a silly question. You'll get this on the link to the YouTube channel, Youth Week Newcastle. Okay.
Thanks for watching. See ya.